What the Democrats desperately needed was another thing stopping them from getting literally anything done. And hey, the universe has delivered, with Senate Parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough effectively ruling that only one more automatic budget reconciliation is permissible this year, dealing a blow to Democrats who previously thought they would have 2 more chances to sidestep Republicans in advancing President Biden's agenda. McDonough ruled that a revision to the 2021 budget resolution cannot be automatically discharged from the Senate Budget Committee, meaning Democrats would need at least one Republican on the 11-11 panel to vote with them. Well, that's being pitched as something difficult. There's good Republicans, bipartisanship and all that. Surely one reasonable Republican will work with them. Look, it gets even more wonky and specific to budget committee, blah, blah procedure after that. What you need to know is the parliamentarian, who there is no good reason for us to even know what this individual's name is saying this. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's feeling like the Democrats are gonna treat it as if it's the word of God, Rashad.
Yep, and they did this last time. So let me break down who the parliamentarian is. This person does not exist by way of constitutional mandate. This person does not exist by way of statutory mandate. This is a Senate rule. That's what it is. If you've been to a board meeting, you know that there's typically a parliamentarian who is a counsel for the rules. They don't enforce nothing. The parliamentarian has no executive authority. The parliamentarian is a counselor and exists as a person who can give you guidance to the rule. So let's look at this as an office rule. Let's say that for the sake of argument. This office rule, by way of Senate rules, can in fact be ignored by the Vice President of the United States. It has happened before. It is rare, but it has taken place. There's precedent. But nobody's talking about the other side of that. I don't hear Democrats going on CNN or anywhere else saying, hey, the Vice President can actually, per Senate rules, overrule the parliamentarian. Once again, you're not outside of the context of the rules. It's inside of the rules that the Vice President can overrule. Why aren't Democrats talking about this at all?
Yeah, why aren't seemingly any of them bothered by the, at every turn, proof that they're not gonna get anything done? Like, why Schumer doesn't seem that frustrated?
Schumer trying to raise money on YouTube, man.
That's true, oh God. What about the Vice President? Like, this, we're directly talking about something you can get involved in. Where are you? Like, I don't know, maybe she's being ordered by Biden not to say anything. I don't know. That begs the question, Biden, why aren't you bothered by this, man? You've been trying to become president for 300 years now, and they're going to stop you from doing anything. And like, I don't know, maybe it's the parliamentarian, maybe it's Kyrsten Sinema, maybe it's Joe Manchin. I don't know. There's a bunch of them who are saying you're not gonna get anything done. And it doesn't really seem to bother you that much. And like, I get it. Joe Biden can always fall back on the fact that he's already president. Well, Kamala Harris, I know that you are just itching to run for president. You don't think that a track record of getting like nothing done is gonna hurt your chances? You don't think that's gonna make it a little bit easier for a progressive to beat you in the primary? If you could have stepped in over and over and you choose not to, and we cruise the next 4 years only having passed that pandemic bill and that's basically it, they're gonna block you from getting a Supreme Court justice. If Breyer actually does step down, they're gonna do everything they can to block it. Are they just gonna roll over the Democrats and just have an 8-person Supreme Court for the next few years? And they're gonna try to go into a primary saying, this is our record, I stand by it. Why aren't you mad? Why aren't you frustrated by this? Why aren't you doing literally anything? And this is an open question to basically any elected Democrat. Why aren't you doing anything?
Yeah, or at least saying all of the options that can be done. I would respect it even more if Democrats would just go on record and say, right, the parliamentarian has made this ruling. That ruling is not an executive action. That ruling is in fact a guidance. That guidance can be ignored by the Vice President of the United States per Senate rules. I would be fine if one Democrat just went on record and said what it is. But you're right, people are taking orders. I almost feel like we got 5 or 6 presidents. I feel like we got President Joe Manchin. I feel like Biden's in there somewhere. Kamala Harris, the Vice President, is in the background, right? That's how I feel. And what happens is you have this gridlock of leadership. The reason why we have a hierarchy of leadership is because in the design of this country, we wanted someone not only to be in charge, but to also be accountable. So you can't You can't keep saying that you're the guy in charge, but you're not accountable for when things don't happen or things don't get executed. And this is the irony of it all, John. Literally, Republicans are pulling all of these strings. Trump is behind the Republicans pulling these strings. And come midterm election, you know who will get blamed for doing nothing? The Democrats who actually are in power.
Yeah, and look, if right now the vice president is like, really like hesitant to use her power, like, should I do it? Well, don't worry about it for that much longer, because soon you won't have it. You won't be breaking any ties when the Republicans have majority by a couple seats. And I'll say this again, I apologize for the constant repetition of this, but it has to be pointed out. Like, there is no more important lens, I think, to view American politics or just America generally than the outcomes of inequality. And in this case, political inequality. There are all of these failure points in I view them as failure points in our government where action can be stopped. And you might think, oh, well, that's built in, but everybody has to try to manage it, because if you can't get your agenda done, then that hurts all sides equally. It hurts the Democrats when they're in power, hurts the Republicans when they're in power. No, that's not how it works at all. Not being able to get anything done hurts the side that needs to get stuff done. But when you're fat and happy and rich and powerful and everything is set up to benefit you, you don't have to get anything done. Failures to get something done, that's just a great stalling tactic. And it wards off, popular concern for why Republican presidents literally never do anything. It is not equal. That is why these things need to be fixed. They cannot just abide, and sometimes it hurts us, sometimes it hurts them. No, it hurts the working people all the time. The rich people never. That's how it works.
Man, you hit a grand slam, brother, because you're right. Anytime you hear a politician talk about, well, if we do this, the opposition party is going to do that. Well, you have left the individuals who are absolutely impacted all the time out of your entire whataboutism. But it shows you a glimpse of their soul. It shows you where they are in their thinking about how their leadership should roll. And that's why the best way to change a system is to replace the people who implement the system. That's the way to do it. We can keep trying to change the mind of these politicians, but the way to really get reform is to change out the actors who are in charge.
Yeah, you're right. And it's really slow and it's really frustrating, but it might be the only way.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.